Guys, our high five guest this week is Zanele. She's a traditional healer that has been previously arrested. Joe, you know a little bit about Zanele.
So Zanele is a traditional healer, and we heard about her story. She was arrested in, Charles, correct me if I'm wrong, it was in November 2019?
December 2019, yeah.
It was one of the cases that was in the Sunday Times and made the media.
Really dramatic with the hawks, lights, camera, action, kind of all to do about nothing.
Warrants and things like that, yeah. So we actually spoke about this in a previous Hotbox show as well. And we basically just want to catch up with Gogo Zanele and see how it's going, catch up with where they are in the case.
It's been over a year, and I believe they only recently dismissed her case, So many of these cases get postponed for months, and then they all get dismissed and struck off the roll.
Yeah.
The only problem is still the police. The courts seem to have caught up with what the law actually means. The prosecutors, they at least do their homework and they do some reading. Pity they can't send out notifications to the police, because the police obviously don't seem to read their circulars and directives.
Yeah, the fax machine ran out of ink a long time ago.
Yeah, and electricity. Okay, great. So we've got Zanele on the line. Apparently we've got her back.
Thokozani, Gogo.
Thokozani, and thank you for welcoming me.
Yes, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Do you want to give us a little bit of a background to your arrest story, when it happened, so how many plants you had, how long did you end up in jail, your husband and your staff? I know that they were in jail a lot longer than you were. Set the scene.
Yes. I was arrested on November 2019. I was not even on my farm. I was at my clinic. And then my husband and a gardener called me to say the police are there in Northwest. And then the police called me and they said to me, they want me to come and negotiate. I drove to Northwest. Obviously, the search warrant was wrong. It was addressed to a person unknown to us. And it was given to us close to the police station, not when we requested it. Anyway, we were arrested on Thursday. By Friday, the police had published a press release to all media houses, saying that, not even alleging, confirming that they found, a drug syndicate from the Brad's area, from Asin area. I'm a drug dealer, healer. And on Friday, also, we did not appear in court. By the time we appeared on Monday, the court was really waiting for us. Everybody wanted to see whose drug dealer healer is. So on our first appearance, obviously everybody was resentful of us. We were never given a chance. We didn't even say anything. They decided to decline the bail. So we went back in. I went in for another 7 days. When we appeared the following Monday, then I was given a bail of 10,000 rands. After getting the bail, the other two, my husband and his gardener, were sent to Kosimampuru. And then it became difficult because then the lockdown came in, and then I couldn't visit them. The courts, didn't talk about us. But ever since I appeared in court over 8 times, because we were appearing in court, but nothing was said. The case would just be postponed to this day. We had never been asked to plead guilty or not guilty. Nothing happened. Since we were arrested, we just kept quiet till the case was withdrawn last year, October, on the 8th of October 2020. And then after the case was withdrawn, I went back because as a traditional healer, I am a legal, traditional health practitioner. I give practice number. I tried to tell them that, but they just didn't, they didn't have time to look at anything. So after the case was withdrawn, I went back to the police to ask my plants, and then they told me that they destroyed my plants. On my farm, it was not only the cannabis plants, my CBD plants that they took. They vandalized my house, obviously, And then they took my other plants, because I use plants such as moringa. There is another organic immune system booster tea that I use. There are other plants and herbs and roots that they kept, they put it over the place. And then they took some liters of CBD oil that were already prepared.
Yes.
So, basically that's what happened. So now as you speak, they said to us, they destroyed those plants. When I asked them how can they destroy them, because according to what they told the court that my plants were worth 1.2 million, those plants were supposed to be an evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
No evidence, no nothing, or at least have pictures of those plants, if that's what, they told the court. Because the reason the court refused us bail is because they told the court that this is it's a high profile case. I'm a syndicate, all those things. So, yeah.
Oh, so you're a gangster drug dealer.
Yes, I'm a drug dealer. And when I got, and our people and the whole mentality, when you say to them, this woman is a drug dealer, they won't think obviously of, strong drugs such as your cocaine or whatever. They think that I'm doing Yahweh, which was the impression of the people at Breast Court. The way they were looking at me as if I'm killing their children. I'm doing something, I'm doing some Nyaube with cannabis. There was just so much confusion. To an extent that even my colleagues, there was a time they were doubting me, saying to me, why would they call you a drug dealer healer? Of which, sometimes...
Sensationalism.
Zanele, can you tell me when the police first bust you and they published all these stories about you in the newspaper, did the media, the press, did they send a journalist to you to hear your side of the story? Or did they just make up what they thought and publish their own side? They did not.
The sad thing is, no journalists who contacted me, and they knew that I was in hard abuse. And the sad thing was that they're not alleging in the story. They're not saying there are allegations that this person does this. They put my name, full Zanele, and they confirm that the police said they found some lab. That lab. I don't know.
So basically you were framed. They forced their story onto you as the truth.
Yes, and they said, and there were other stories where they would use my picture, but the story is not my story. It's other story of other people they arrested somewhere, but they use my pictures as an example on posts online. And as I went to court and complained, to my attorney and saying all these things, trying to tell the prosecutor that why they published the story before I even appeared in court, because now the court will be biased. They started removing those stories. But I do have some of some of those stories. And Media 24, and it was on TV, in fact. It was on ENCA. On Thursday, I was arrested. On Friday evening, that's where my family saw me on ENCA. Calling me a drug dealer healer from
not even the
That's
television.
How my family found me.
Not even the television asked you for your side of the story.
No.
Not ENCA.
No, because they know that I'm not going to do anything. They do it all the time. Yeah, ENCA, and then it was SABC. Mm-hmm. SABC sent it to their radio stations, like Mutswedi, because if I'm like up to 6-7 radio stations, and then they sent it to Media 24.
Yeah.
It was on Daytime as well. Like they tried to build a case, against me, like framing me, so that everybody can just say, yes, she's done it. So can you imagine the court? The court looked at me and then they saw this drug dealer.
So are you going to be suing the arresting officers for unlawful arrest?
Well, in February, I tried to lodge my case with the Constitutional Court. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it was difficult for any attorneys to believe me, because, of course, I'm a journalist, by profession, and I'm a producer, a TV producer. So, and I've covered stories on law at the courts and all that. Mm. So, when I went to the Constitutional Court, I went under the direct access.
Yes.
And then my case was accepted. I got a case number and everything. And then 4 months later, they dismissed my case on basis that I was representing myself because I didn't have an attorney who wanted to accompany me. They said to me it's too soon, of which I understand. My case was still at the press court, but my complaint, the reason why I went to the Constitutional Court was that I already knew that the judge and the prosecutor are biased. They would just hear what the police are telling them, and there was no fair even listening or anything. They just assumed that we were guilty.
So they conspire together, the court and the police, they conspire together to present this lie, and the media helps them to publish what they say the truth is.
The media should be publishing apologies with your face attached to it.
Yeah,
to
they're
say
just
this
as
woman
guilty
is
as the
not
police.
a dealer.
But let me tell you what I did. Because at that time, I was still the executive of CDC and a representative of traditional healers at CDC.
Yes.
We went to ENCA because I was very angry, and I wanted to ask them, how can you not even call me? Or try to send a journalist to visit me and say, is it true? Because right from the beginning, the arrest was unlawful. It's a private space, it's far. I had grown according to a document I had from SAPRA, because we had meetings and the police. So, it was a safe space, and as in hemp. So I needed them to prove that how can I deal with hemp while I'm making products with it.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I don't know, it was just, they were just trying to make it complicated. And what made me suspicious, on the day of arrest, they were not really willing to arrest. They wanted 30,000. They wanted money. They were searching for money.
Bribe.
So not finding money. I said to them, I'm not going to give you anything because I know that what I'm doing is right. And I said to them, according to law and the meetings I had with the police, you can't arrest me. Take a note, take pictures, go and investigate, before you come and arrest me, but by then they'd vandalized the house. They were angry, that I'm saying something like that. So.
And you don't have money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's money
another
lying
thing,
around.
I had a clinic. I have patients. There was a patient who was in the middle of treatment. That patient passed away during this arrest. And I shut down my clinic because I couldn't pay rent. My life is I don't know where to begin as we speak. I went to SAPRA when I came back. I said, okay, fine, do me proper papers. Let me pay for the permit. It's not us, it's agriculture. No, it's Department of Health. I went to Department of Health. I said, okay, fine. Since I have this, just write me a little letter, because if this thing is not on the bill, on the proposed bill or on the act, on the cannabis bill or cannabis act, police said to us they will regulate us like private people, because there's no such writing that says exclude traditional healers. So I feel like we are caught up in these, lawmakers saying things but not communicating to each other and not knowing really what they are doing.
That's
and then we
exactly
become
right.
the victims, and it's like that. No, but they know that we will not sue.
So do you think the government actually cares about traditional healers?
No, they don't. I'll tell you why. Right now, last year when I was arrested, I was in the interim structure of the council, the actual council,
yes.
THPC council. So that interim structure, of course, we dismantled it, because it wasn't working. But then I wrote some emails. I'm communicating with healers. I have so many healers from different regions, organizations, and leaders. I've written a letter to CRL, asking them to, encourage the minister, to sit down with us and allow us to have this council, because it's not only the issue of medicines, that we are being, controlled on and restricted on. There are a whole lot of things that are going on that we feel as traditional healers, we need to have a structure, we need to have a say, we need to have a voice, we need to be taken seriously. But I think there's some tactics to ensure that it doesn't happen, so that it becomes like this. Nobody cares, it's a small thing and that's it.
That's really sad, because we really should be treasuring and protecting our indigenous knowledge systems, our IKS, and that's exactly traditional healers and working with the plant medicines.
It's disgusting that they
preserving culture.
Arrest a traditional healer for a plant.
I know.
Yeah.
In 2020.
Oh, you're saying that? Did you see that about 3 days ago they arrested some Khoisans for garlic?
Yes,
Yeah.
we saw that, and we are livid about that. How can you
ridiculous.
arrest somebody for something that you can buy from a garden centre?
So next time, what are they going to say? Spinach and onion?
Exactly. And now they're going to come
Just
raid our
like-
gardens for tomatoes.
Yeah, just like we can't, just like we know that African potatoes, if they find with things of which they are ridiculous.
And that
Right
is-
now, the Mhlonyane that was proposed for COVID, it's kind of like they want to regulate it. They're saying it's strong, we can't use it, stories. And I'm thinking, as traditional healers, if we keep quiet with these issues, I wonder what is going to happen. We'll not be allowed to use any medicine, any plant, any herb, anything whatsoever.
Exactly.
No,
You're going to end up having to go and get your medicines from Dis-Chem or a pharmacist.
Absolutely,
Sorry, I shouldn't say
yes.
a brand.
Or grow your own.
Yeah,
From their friends.
that's ridiculous. No, the government needs to be more pro.
If you grow your own, then you need a permit, and then you need a license from SAPA. They just add other things and say, I don't know. I don't know. There's just no recognition, no respect of indigenous people, their plants, their herbs, anything that they use. So that's my problem with that.
There's no respect for that ancestral knowledge.
Yeah.
Eventually, a few generations, where will that knowledge still be? That's the question. You got to have that voice to still stand up for that knowledge to pass it down.
It's true.
I know it's hard. We're trying, but I thought that CRL maybe, because they represent, the language, religion, culture, and whatever, they would take this thing seriously. But it seemed like, this whole thing is becoming political. I asked them for venue so that we can do a workshop as traditional healers, so that we understand exactly what is the Act saying, what is it that we don't want with the Act, so that by the time we formulate the council, we understand what is that we need in the Act and what is it that we don't need. But then they refused to offer us a venue. I got a venue, though, at some Egurulene municipality. So I'm just trying in bits and pieces of ways, but it's just hard and it's exhausting. I feel like I don't know what to do.
No, it is exhausting. It is. It's like fighting against the wind, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
Shame
we're
on
going
the
to
ANC.
continue our conversation in coming weeks and see how we can help you at Fields of Green for All to sort of give you whatever boost you need, help-wise.
Absolutely.
Okay. But I think in the meantime, we're going to have to move on to our next topic. Zanele, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much. Really informative.
Thank you.
And I can see in the chat the people are on your side. They're angry. They're like, come on, man, this is unfair. Stop the cops.
Yeah. Stop the cops.
Stop the cops. You need to stop the cops. Please have a blessed evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
We'll chat soon.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Well.
Okay, cheers.
Even if we're going to regulate our medicine, it shouldn't have anything to do with the police.
You're right on there, Dale, because
you don't want people taking medicine that's not grown right or exactly things like that. You still want to make sure the medicine is okay for people to consume.
Yeah.
So regulation, yes, but to put a license on a product like that doesn't make sense when she's not bagging it and sending it in the streets. She's mixing it in teas and with other plants.
I mean, the fact that somebody died is a direct result of the police's actions. Yeah. I mean, they may have just beaten this person to death like they've done with many other Rastafari.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's always kind of boiled down to one denominator for me. Should police be arresting people for growing cannabis, whatever their motivation is?
Police should have nothing to do with cannabis.
Are there not a million other things police should rather be doing?
How many murders a day?
Yeah, I'm not saying that every
3 minutes a woman or child is raped.
No,
there are
I'm saying they
58
must go
murders a
stand in the
day.
front.
No.
They must go stand in the front.
Yeah, no, that's
you're
their
right,
job.
dude.
They're literally
It's a war
paid to
zone
do
out
that.
there. They swore an oath to protect the public.
The weed is just a convenient distraction.
Yeah, it's easy. When
So
you're
easy,
driven by numbers,
And
no,
it's
for them
easy pocket money.
They're driven by numbers.
Yeah.
We need 50 dockets opened every month. 50. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Every weekend we get 15. There we go. Done.
40 of them are for weed.
For whatever. For whatever. I don't even need to prove it because, again, I'm asked only to open the docket.
Yeah, how many arrests do the police fake?
I'm not asked
Yeah,
to...
exactly.
Yeah,
Mr. Joint?
Yeah, we
I'm
did
not asked to
this.
follow it through all the way and get prosecutions. That's a different number.
No, that doesn't even happen with weed now because the courts will throw the cases
But
out.
as long as the police...
Just the arrests.
open up
Arrest.
50, 60, 80, whatever number it is, dockets a month, then...
It's a really sad life.
See, we are policing the streets. Here we picked up X, Y, and Z.
If you earn your bread and butter by faking arrests, you are a sad sack.
It's happening. That's who we rely on. We rely on them.
And to act like a robot, and when you see other plants growing amongst the cannabis like that, you know that there's medicine there being made, and you still go and destroy everything. That's not humane at all.
Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's medicine, hemp, or just for getting grilled. Doesn't matter what it is. None of us owe an explanation.
Shouldn't matter.
Technically. But alas, as we see the wheels turn slowly, and also as we're seeing, it can have a huge impact. This shit can mess your life up. Yeah, we talk to these people, in a way we become almost immune to it because we hear these stories so often. But when you're that person going through that, when they arrest you on that Thursday evening, because then they know it'll be Monday when you see the court.
Exactly.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
You know.
And they had the misluck of having that, getting caught just before COVID. And delay. Oh, lockdown. Ain't nah.